Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. The Moass is closer than anybody realizes. It could happen any day, and this really revolves around the low volume, and I want to go through history of AMC, prove this to you guys, and by the end of this video, if you are doubting AMC or discouraged because the low volume or the price action moves to the downside, you will have a totally new and better understanding how these things work. We are going to take a look at other articles, not even just my words, going over how the low volume plays into a short squeeze candidate. Some of these articles were made well before AMC and the short squeeze was ever on the table. So we're going to get into this video, guys. Hit that like button for me, consider subscribing to the channel, and let me know in the comment section what do you guys think about the low volume and the Moass potentially coming any day now. And as always, check out the links in the description. If you guys want a totally free share of Lucid Motors, sign up with Moo, deposit $100, get one free share of Lucid Motors. That is over a 50% return just upon doing that, and also get a free stock from just opening a brokerage account. Now, let's talk about it. Obviously, AMC is down about 1% today, a pretty muted day, not a big drop to the downside, but it really doesn't matter. We are still seeing incredibly low volume, and this could last for a while. I'm not saying that it's going to happen tomorrow, but I do think by the end of the year, you're going to get a move to the upside due to things that we have talked about here on this channel. We know there's a lot of option activity for the monthly expiration for December 17th, as well as January 21st, 2022. But on top of that, we have a new proposed rule change where we are essentially going to be able to see the short sellers' hands and get all of the information about their short positions that is not readily available. On top of that, you have the Santa Claus rally, where institutional investors tend to go away on vacation, people investing holiday bonuses, companies earning more money. That generally leads to stocks going up. If you guys don't know what that is, look deeper into that. That is called the Santa Claus rally. And on top of that, you have tax loss harvesting. It makes a lot of sense to cover on your AMC position if you are down on that, because you can use those losses to offset your gains in other stocks for the year. So that is the current situation. Let's get into the volume and how that plays into actually seeing the Moass. So if you do a basic Google search, is low volume good for a short squeeze? It says any stock is susceptible to a short squeeze, but those with low volume are especially vulnerable. Short squeezes occur when a stock with a large short interest, that is a large percentage of shares that are currently held by short sellers, begins to move higher. Now let's click on this article, because this article was made in July 20th, 2018. So this is not favoring AMC. It's not discrediting AMC. AMC short squeeze was never imaginable back in 2018. So I think this gives this article a little bit more credence and reliability, if I do say so myself. Now, short squeezes can be the holy grail of market opportunities if you're savvy, or your worst nightmare if you're caught on the wrong side. Here's a look at how to spot potential short squeeze and how to avoid them altogether. What is a short squeeze? A short squeeze is a stock market dynamic that sends shares of a stock dramatically higher in a short period of time, generally anywhere from a few hours to a few days. Any stock is susceptible to a short squeeze, but those with low volume are especially vulnerable. Short squeezes occur when a stock with a large short interest, that is a large percentage of shares that are currently held by short sellers, begins to move higher. The catalyst for this initial move, if there is one, doesn't really matter. What does matter is the move higher causes some short sellers, whether by choice or automatically, to begin covering their positions. This begins a feedback loop, with the initial short covering driving the price higher, which then causes more shorts to cover, which then drives the price even higher, which then you get the idea. As buyers flood into the stock, the short sellers get squeezed out of their positions. How to spot a short squeeze? People can get caught on the wrong side of short squeeze. That's because they can seemingly come out of nowhere. However, there are warning signs that one may occur if you know what to look for. Stocks with large short interests are most vulnerable to squeezes. Generally, a short interest over 20% is considered a potential red flag. Tesla, one of the most popular stocks to short on Wall Street, has a short interest of around 27% at the time of this writing. That just shows you guys how old this was. Tesla had a 27% short interest. You drop dead if you've seen Tesla with a 20% short interest now. But let's continue on. Any stock with a small amount of shares available to trade, a low float, has the potential to be squeezed as well, as a sudden surge in volume can cause volatile swings in either direction. And that goes along the same lines with AMC, even though AMC does not have a small float compared to other stocks. You could say AMC's float is considered small, but with the amount of retail investors that hold onto the stock, that restricts the amount of shares that are available to be traded. So it works along the same lines with AMC, since you have so many retail investors that are holding on to the stock. Now, if you see a stock rise sharply on high volume without news from the company or a technical formation, there's a decent chance it's a short squeeze. If this happens to a stock you're in, it's important to understand your options. Now they go into if you're a short seller and you get caught on the other side of that trade and how to go about managing risk and things that you really don't need to be worried about unless you're a short seller in AMC. I hope none of you guys are, because that is very dangerous at the current moment. Now, let's talk about the actual volume and what is going on right now. So you guys can see over the past couple of weeks, we have had record low volume for AMC stock. Today may come in as the record for the lowest volume since before June, and that is a very, very big deal, and we'll take a look at that. But right now we're only at 11.4 million shares that have traded hands today. So the fact you're seeing the stock down 1%, not very surprising. You're not seeing a whole lot of buying, you're not seeing a whole lot of selling. But if there's just a little bit more buying or selling on these low volume days, you can see bigger price swings, because going back to what that article just said, a lot of retail investors are holding on to the stock, and that compresses the flow, I should say, right? There's not as many shares that are readily available to be trading. Now, let's talk about the actual volume and what happened here with this past, really a false breakout. So after earnings August 9th, we're at about $29 per share, ran all the way up to $53 per share. Why is this a false breakout, and why could we really see this coming? I seen this coming from a mile away. It's because of the volume. You see this? It's basically flat in between 40 and 50 million for volume. You get one big volume spike. I forget what the actual news was, but 225 million shares traded hands. That volume dissipated and we came back down. But what you guys probably are noticing right now is the volume still remained very, very elevated. So that means there's just more shares that are trading hands. There's more buyers, there's more sellers. And when that is the case, it's hard to get squeezed out of your position, because it's very easy to get out of your position. And we've probably seen some shorts covering and then some shorts shorting the stock back here. Now, if we had low volume heading into that big volume spike, we would have seen a much bigger move to the upside, and you could see that back here. And I want to relate the volume that is currently happening, the levels of volume that we are seeing right now, back to before this June rally and back before the January rally. So if we take this all the way back to January 2021, you guys can see we even had higher volume then than we do have now with AMC stock. And that's when AMC hit $1.91. We had in between 25 and 30 million for volume, and then it does start to pick up in between 40 million in volume, and then you do start to see those big volume days and the bigger price action come into the stock. Now, say like right here, we went from 26 million in volume the day we hit $1.91, and then you go to 1.2 billion shares that traded hands. We went up 10x from $1.91 to about $20 per share. That was a 10x. The volume died back down. Right here, you guys see that in between 40, 50, 60 million for volume, and then came back in a couple hundred million for volume, and the price went up yet again from about $5 all the way up to $10. That was another 100% round move. And you guys can go through this whole entire chart, and you will find that volume going from low volume to high volume is the biggest factor leading AMC's stock price up. And as more people continue to hold the stock back here before the June rally, we've seen yet again very low volume in between 27, 37 million for volume, rarely going over 40 million for volume until we started to go through the cycle and start to get 100 million shares traded, 200 million shares traded, and we did go up collectively about 100% yet again. The volume did die down a couple days before this big rally right here, 53 million in volume. volume, May 21st, and then you start to see that volume increase every single day. We had higher volume. That led to the price going up higher. But if we had never seen these low volume days, we would not have just catapulted up so fast and so hard and violently like we did back here in June, and then we did top out at 757 million for volume. And then after that, those high levels of volumes cannot be sustained unless you're just seeing a lot of traders. And obviously shorts got squeezed out of their positions, and then you do see more shares that are flooded back into the marketplace. That does drive the share price down. And that's why we've seen a lot of this back and forth action since June, really staying in between $30 and $50 per share, is because the volume was just back and forth. You didn't see low volume heading into high volume or high volume heading into low volume. And when you did see that, you did tend to see a sell-off. Now, what we're looking at right now is just consecutively low volume. Ever since we did hit about $53 per share, we have remained and never went over 100 million for volume, besides this day right here, which was September 30th, and then that other day back here, which was that 20% move, and that was 225 million for volume. So we're staying super low with volume, and you guys can see just how thin these candles are starting to get as the volume is dissipating with the stock. That means people are holding on to their shares. There's less shares available to currently be sold short. And I think today is going to come in as the lowest volume day since June. Now, if you're smart, if you understand volume and how it plays into a short squeeze and making the price of the stock go up, this is very, very exciting. Forget the move that you are seeing today or all of these red candles. It does not matter until the volume comes into the stock. And like I said earlier, it could last a while. It could happen tomorrow or on Friday, I should say, or next Monday. It could happen very fast. And once that volume does come into the stock, you want to be somebody that is already a part of AMC. And what is even better than all of that is even through this up and down volume, or even back here, right, where you see low volume head into high volume, we never have come down even under $30 since this, well, briefly back here before earnings August 9th, briefly went under $30. But for the most part, we have stayed above $30 this whole entire time. So all of these signs are huge green flags, red flags, whatever you want to call them, that the Moass is just around the corner. And that is very important to know. The key here is the volume. And like I say all the time, the only things that matter as far as technical analysis are concerned is the volume. That is number one, the moving averages, and the price action of the stock relative to the volume. So that's basically what you guys need to know right there. Oh, and resistance and support levels. That's basically all you guys need to know about that. Now, have the shorts covered? That shouldn't even be a question. The shorts have not covered. Last we knew, short interest was at about 18.5% with a high days to cover. That was the main argument from the bears last time around in June, or last time around in August, when they would go on CNBC or Fox Business and talk about the short squeeze, was the fact that we have super high volume still, over 50 million shares traded every single day. How are you going to see a short squeeze when it's very hard, when it's very easy to get out of your short positions? And that is showing you guys that not as many people are actually holding the stock. Now that argument cannot be made. So that's personally why I continue to buy AMC stock, why right now is the most bullish time, and really when you want to be fully invested in AMC, in my personal opinion. So do whatever you guys want with this information. Let me know in the comment section if this makes sense to you guys, if this doesn't make sense, if you agree, if you disagree. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comment section. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. Check out the links in the description for free stock and the links for the buy and sell alerts if you want to be notified every time I make a trade on AMC or any other stock that'll make you guys a ton of money. Check that out for the buy and sell alerts in the description. So that is going to be all for this video. Love and appreciate every single one of you guys for watching this video, making this all possible. But until next time, you guys take care.